Thanks, listeners, for joining us. Today's the day that we get to visit with our guest from the Bureau of Land Management to talk about our public lands. Here with the BLM today, Elko District, we have Cheryl Miller, who is California Trail Interpretive Center Park Ranger. Welcome, Cheryl.
So glad to be here, Lori. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So excited about all the August events and the fact that we have Clint Mothershed here, who Clint is our fire mitigation, education, fire trespass investigation specialist. The fact that you're here, Clint, means that we're doing pretty good in our local fire season.
Yeah, so far so good, Lori. We're not looking too bad. We've had really good initial attack success on our fires, meaning that within the first 24 hours they're contained and controlled. So hopefully that trend continues. We've definitely gotten lightning, but we're just not getting the large fires. So all in all, it's been a pretty successful season so far.
Yeah, it's amazing to think what a difference it makes a few hundred miles away because, we know California's had the fires. Utah just declared a state emergency. They've had 700 fires. The governor is, looking for some extra assistance there. But tell us about the new technology, Clint, in which these fires can be detected a little earlier, perhaps.
Yeah, they call them the dirty flights. I'm not really sure what that acronym stands for, but what it is just an aircraft that flies at higher elevations. And what they do is they have sensors on there, and they detect heat. So, say lightning struck a juniper yesterday, somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. That flight will be flying over Elko County. I think the flight just got done, and they'll be able to detect any of those heat anomalies, and it gives us coordinates, and then we just send our resources out there before it actually starts puffing smoke or anything else. So very useful tool.
Yeah, that is great technology. And then we also want to add that while we're in a good place in our local area fire season, Clint, that our firefighters are really dispatched all around.
Oh, yeah. That's they're considered, we're all kind of considered national resources. And so, certain regions usually get affected at different times. And so resources from an area that's not very busy for like this time of year, it's usually from the eastern half of the U.S. They send their people out here. So, and then the Southwest usually has an earlier fire season. So those resources we swap. Earlier in the year, we send stuff down to New Mexico, and they, return the favor into the summer.
So, Clint, it is now, we're into August officially, and we like to think that we're sort of easing, maybe transitioning out of fire season because as summer winds down, but that's not the case.
Not necessarily. We see more of a trend like that beginning of September, and what it is the days are getting shorter, temperatures are cooler, the nighttime humidity recovery is higher, and what that means is that fire just doesn't, the wildfires we have in this fuel type just don't have the conditions to burn throughout the night. So, we've got about another month to go.
All right. So right now you describe us as having neutral conditions. Is that right, Clint?
Yeah. So as far as El Nino, La Nina goes, right now we're just in the neutral. Looking maybe later into this fall, going back into a La Nina. We'll see. What that does for us is it's drier winters, colder winters, typically. So we'll see how it goes. But we just got our forecast for the next 3 months from our meteorologists within the BLM, and we're looking at above average temps and below average precipitation definitely through September, and then October they say it's a ways out to predict, but usually October is when we have what we call the season ending event where we get a lot of precipitation district or countywide, and it pretty much stops everything.
And that's usually in the form of snowpack. I mean, if we're lucky, because we don't want to combine a lot of moisture on top of freezing temperatures. But Clint, the addition of hunting season, I think that's important that we emphasize. Human beings have to be extremely careful because even though temperatures might be cooler, as you said, the fuel is still dry. And so a fire can get started and burn rather quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Until we get that season ending event, the fuels will just be, in the daytime is basically the biggest threat, obviously. And those fuels be out there cooking in the sun. You'll get a little bit of a wind, and then, it doesn't necessarily have to have an open flame. It could be a heat source where something smolders for a little bit and then it takes off. That's pretty common. So, it's time to remind the public that we still are in fire restrictions. And if we don't get that season-ending event, we will be in the fire restrictions until October 31st. And so when it comes to hunting season, right now, camping fires are only allowed in fee-paying sites, basically because they are maintained and they have like fire rings and they have the fuels clearance there. So, anything outside of that, you can use stuff. It's just got to be with pressurized gas or fuel.
Because there are a lot of things that people that don't camp all the time may not think about, overhanging branches or just the distance, in vegetation or how sparks can fly, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, at nighttime, you have a big, nice fire, and you don't realize how far those embers can carry. And before you know it, you're got a big fire. And some of these areas in the county don't really have the greatest cell service. So.
And we are in what's known as stage 1 fire restrictions.
Yep. Yeah, that's the lesser of the three evils, I guess you would say. And just to paint it and put it in some sort of a, framework, stage 3 is total closure of everything. So that's like doomsday stuff. But stage 2 is fairly restrictive as well, more definitely than the stage 1.
Okay. And something that we could mention, too, that I know you're well aware of is we're at planning level 4, though, nationwide or region-wide?
I think it's nationwide. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And basically that planning level means that resources are stretched.
are starting to get stretched for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Certain areas are requiring more resources, and so other areas aren't as well staffed as they'd like to be.
Okay. So folks can go online to look up these fire restrictions specifically. They have to do with working outdoors, recreating, shooting sports, for example. And again, campfires, smoking in both Forest Service and BLM managed lands, operating a chainsaw, because we know folks are going to go out and start harvesting wood here pretty soon too.
Oh yeah, we've had fires started due to that, and it's usually either the chain strikes a rock and creates a spark, and then they leave the area and it's just smoldering, or their chain's super dull and they're trying to cut through wood and it eventually heats up the sawdust enough. When a chainsaw chain's sharp, it basically the sawdust that comes out of there is big and chunky, but when your chain's dull, it's smaller, it's finer, and it's more susceptible to heat because it's been heating up inside of that where you're sawing, and now that that finer fuel, it's just easier for it to smolder.
Yeah, it's conductive heat, right?
Yeah.
Combined with the sparks. And so, Clint, you're also an investigator, and something of note is that we have had, I think, more structure fires in Spring Creek, places like Rendon, Osino, even a couple of ranches with some auxiliary buildings. We've had some fires this season, right?
Yeah, we've had some oddball ones. I think yesterday in Star Valley, a baler caught on fire. There, a baler caught on fire. I investigated a fire a couple weeks ago. We just spoke about smoking, and a gentleman was outside on his private property smoking cigarettes, working on a shed, and he lost the cherry on it. And next thing you know, he had a fire. He went and grabbed his water jug to go put it out. He fell, dropped the water jug broke, and it started a 50-acre fire. So there's all sorts of different ways. We've had vehicle accidents, rollovers that started fires, a tractor kind of out in the what we'd call the middle of nowhere driving with a purpose, somehow started a fire, a 2-acre fire. So yeah, we get all sorts of stuff.
Something as small as what you just described, the cherry on a lit cigarette, completely accidental, but that started a 50-acre fire.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes those fires can get very expensive. The one with the tractor, it was more than likely carbon coming out of the exhaust. The exhaust was in good shape, but the tractor was working a little hard to get up a slope, and it seems to me that probably a carbon particulate blew out of the stack into some dry fuel. And those things are even smaller than a cherry on a cigarette, so it doesn't take much this time of year.
Clint Mothershed is our guest today, in for the Elko BLM district. We're talking about fire season as it is continuing. And something else close to home is that people often dispose of their trash or even yard debris using burn barrels, right? But it's important that people understand right now open burning remains closed.
Open burning remains closed. For the unincorporated areas within Elko County, you can have a burn barrel. There's a lot of requirements, and just like with the fire restrictions, the specifications for what your burn barrel needs to have, you can go to nevadafireinfo.org. You would go to the fire restrictions tab, and that would lead you to basically Elko County, Elko District, I think is what it would say. And if you clicked on that, it would have all the fire restrictions from all the agencies, plus the specs for a approved burn barrel.
And again, it's important. It's your responsibility. You have to know all of these things before you light the fire. And in fact, with no open burning right now, they're not issuing any burn permits, right, Clint?
No, not until we get that season-ending event. Basically,
Okay.
a lot hinges on that. Fire restrictions get lifted, burn bans get opened, but it's, we spoke about it a little bit earlier, but it needs to be at least probably a half inch of like measurable precipitation in the form of water. And so you're looking at snow, it's a little bit more, it's probably about 3-4 inches of snow.
And I think it's important to mention too, Clint, that you're both with the BLM, the Elko agency. Sometimes people might be tempted to dump on public lands, but that's a huge problem. And if you are apprehended, and there are ways, there's a lot more technology, surveillance, people are more prone to report those things anymore when they see it happening. I mean, it's just not worth a few bucks that it takes to dump it at the landfill.
Yeah, well, just like your radio show says, your public lands. So people are out there defacing everybody's land, and yeah, it is an unfortunate thing. And just so the public knows, if you are into that, our law enforcement people will dig through the trash they find out there to find one envelope with your name on it, anything they can to come to your door, knock on it, and write you a ticket for littering. So they do try to find the people responsible.
Yeah, and it's a big ticket. I mean, it's a violation. So let's see. Of all the things too that we want to discuss, there are still things that people need to do to pull their weeds, create that defensible space, harden your home surroundings, right, Clint?
Yeah, for sure. So getting into August, more into September, we'll start getting some approaching low pressure systems from the north, cold fronts, and those associated with those are pretty high winds. And so, like earlier I said, we're not out of the woods yet. And the way it looks, it's probably not going to be until October, but you got to be really aware of what's going on out there. And if you have the time early in the morning, you got to mow your property, do what you got to do. Weed eat, mow, maintain stuff, trim the lower branches up on your trees. Just anything you do to keep fire from spreading, getting into the higher canopies of some of the trees and stuff, which at that point will send embers, airborne embers farther. And so then you get little spot fires that are out in front of the fire perpetuating fire. So it's anything you can do to help the firefighters out is definitely appreciated.
You can get all these tips and more at nevadafireinfo.org or livingwithfire.com. Those are great spaces. And I just wanted to mention, too, that your counterpart, your colleague, Matt Peterson, Elko County Fire Protection Chief, our local fire district, talking about evacuation plans. I've had more people say, I'm so glad I heard that if there were to be a sizable fire in Spring Creek, we don't all have to jump on the highway and leave. We can go to a green space or a parking lot, Clint.
Yeah, for sure. Anywhere that's devoid of vegetation, or it's been maintained and mowed down, you'd be fine in those conditions. You could, outlive a fire in those, just knowing the fuel type that's out there.
Yeah, so just good common sense. So people will have a chance to see you at some really cool upcoming events, wrapping up the summer season, huh?
Yeah. So if the public doesn't know, National Night Out is the first Tuesday of every August, and this year it's on this upcoming Tuesday on the 5th. And they are planning events for Elko, Wells, and Carlin's. They'll all be at the city parks. As long as we don't have fires, we will have fire representation at all three events. So come out, meet the firefighters. Law enforcement will be there. There's just a really cool event for the public to be able to actually interact with the public safety people. So I think it's rewarding for both sides of the fence to participate in that.
Free hot dogs and hamburgers.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, 5 to 8 p.m. So National Night Out here in Elko in the main city park, in Carlin in the city park, and in Wells at the city park. And it's great that firefighters are included in this because it is a wonderful way to meet all of our emergency responders.
Yeah, and it's a good way for us to network with the law enforcement side of things. We don't necessarily cross paths too often, so it's nice to be able to have conversations with them as well while we're, talking to the public.
And then you're going to be in the Elko County Fair Parade, right, Clint?
Yeah. We'll be at the parade as long as we don't have fires. We'll be in there. Fire trucks throwing out candy, promoting NevadaFireInfo.org again. So it's always fun. I have a lot of good childhood memories of the Elko County the Fair Parade. It was always a great time. The fair in general was
absolutely.
really cool.
2 weekends of parimutuel horse racing. I mean, all the exhibits, the delicious food, the midway, and of course, all the activities with the cattle and the horses. There's just so much tradition with our Elko County Fair. It's really a good time.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and we can't forget the livestock show too. That's huge. Did you had livestock in the livestock show, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
You were a 4-H kid.
Yeah, did 4-H, did the beef side of things, did the the lamb, sheep side of stuff. So
he did.
I had a lot of that.
When I first met Clint, Cheryl, he was so small that he was sitting up on this big fat horse out at the horse palace, and his legs just kind of stuck out straight. I don't think you remember that because you were kind of small, Clint.
Yeah, well.
Super cool.
I was a cowboy a long time ago.
You were. You've always been
life.
a cowboy. Well, yes, we appreciate that. And then the Carlin Show and Shine is coming up too. The Carlin Car Show, that's a big community tradition. Everybody's invited to that.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool event. Definitely great for the community of Carlin. And then to tie into that, we also have the Elko Car Show. It's just the first part of September. So, it's that time of year where we get some fun outdoor events that aren't blazing hot and cooking everybody. So it's a good time of year. Fall's my favorite time of year here, and I know it's right on the doorstep of that, so I can't wait. I got one last thing, Lori. We talked about the fire restrictions, and I just want to remind the parents, we got a few weeks until school starts, and kids are, they get ants in their pants. They want to hop on their side-by-sides or the UTVs, motorcycles, and go out there in the sage or whatever and do their thing. But please talk to them about where they're driving those things and what they're doing with them, just because we've been lucky so far, knock on wood, that we haven't had any fires started by, youth. But there are a lot of UTVs around here, a lot of motorcycles, so it could be just a matter of time. I don't like to think that way, but just talk to them about staying on roads and being smart about what they're doing with those things. Make sure you clean out the air filters on those things, clean the chassis out, keep little twigs and sticks and just pieces of sagebrush or grass off the exhaust. That's kind of a big thing, and that ties in with hunting season too. Get your stuff maintained before hunting season starts.
Those are all great tips, and stay on those, either the paved road, obviously, or the trails. Just, it's not worth it to get out there in the brush.
No,
so.
it's not. You're right.
Clint, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sitting alongside Cheryl Miller, your colleague from the California Trail Interpretive Center. And we know, Cheryl, that Clint has been able to lend some of their talents. And I think you were working on an exhibit for the Trail Center, right? About fires and preventing fires.
Oh my gosh. Thanks so much for asking, Lori. The whole time Clint's been talking, I've been wanting to talk about our brand new fire information station. Clint and I worked together to pull together some materials in the lobby of the California Trail Center on current fire restrictions, what those fire restrictions mean, hardening your home and making defensible space. We got some coloring sheets and activity books for the kids, and of course some really cool stickers. But just trying to make sure that everyone that comes through the center is thinking about being responsible with fire. They can also learn, if they can have a campfire, if they can't have a campfire. And so, we're really excited. New partnership. So come on out, check out the brand new fire information station.
Awesome. California Trail Interpretive Center. Everything we're about to talk about, located conveniently just 8 miles west of Elko. Oh my gosh, you can complete the trip in a blink of the eye as compared to our California Trail Pioneer travelers. Many, of course, went on to California, but some stayed, and we have families right here in Elko. And let's just get started because there's so many cool events beginning with this weekend. It's another round of great activities, Cheryl.
Oh my gosh, August is packed. And if we have time, we'll also talk about September because we've got some really fun stuff coming up in September. But tonight in Lamoille Canyon at 6 p.m., I am going to be out with my good friend Macy, and we will be doing Cool Canyon Evenings. It's a ongoing event that the Friends of the Ruby Mountains partnered with the USDA Forest Service and the Lamoille Women's Club, put on all summer in Lamoille Canyon at the Powerhouse Picnic area. We're going to be starring tonight, so I'm so excited. We're going to be gold panning. So the program starts at 6, but what Larry has suggested is that you come out at 5 p.m., bring a picnic supper, enjoy the time with your family, and then have some fun gold panning with me and Macy.
That's great. You're going to get a little history lesson, but it's not going to seem like a lesson because it's going to be fun.
For sure. And we've got a new approach that we're going to use tonight. So no lectures tonight. It's going to be fully interactive, really fun. We've got some fun historic objects we're going to be using. So I'm really excited. It'll be a new approach. And what we really want is, if you know everything about the gold rush, come on out. We want to hear from you. And so this is not just an opportunity to learn from us. It's also an opportunity to learn from your neighbors and your friends, whoever is out there. So it should be really fun, really interactive, and great for all ages. Last year we went out and we had kids from very tiny all the way up into elderly retired folks, and they all had a great time, and you'll leave with a little bag of gems. So
this is free. It's tonight in the Powerhouse picnic area of Lamoille Canyon. The Cool Canyon Evening, again, has many great sponsors, including Lamoille Women's Club and the Forest Service and Friends of the Ruby Mountains, with a great partnership from Nevada Outdoor School and California Trail Interpretive Center. Thank you, Cheryl, for reminding us of that super cool opportunity. And then the fun just rolls right into Saturday at the Trail Center.
We've got so much going on. I better talk even faster than I normally do. So on Saturday, August 2nd at 10 a.m., we're going to be doing our infamous bows and throws, where anyone from the community can come out from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and use a bow and arrow. So this will be our archery day. Anyone is welcome to come out. We'll be leading it for about an hour. So bring your family, bring your friends, and also your sunscreen and your sun hat and your bottle of water. We'd love to have you come out and use our bow and arrows and check out the target range.
Again, that's a free activity. Almost everything we talk about. Oh, I know. Cool Canyon Evenings also has s'mores and a campfire. So that's...
How could I forget?
Well, how could I forget?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I didn't mention chocolate. That's very out of character for me. Thanks for mentioning that. Yes, there will be s'mores tonight, totally free, up in Lamoille Canyon at the Powerhouse picnic area.
And then, as Cheryl Miller is describing, a lot of the Trail Center events include s'mores, but there's also ice cream. So keep it rolling. Tell us more.
Oh yeah, we're going to get to the ice cream, but first, some more s'mores. So on August 9th at 8 p.m., we're going to have some more than a meteor shower watch party. And this is our actually very well attended annual event. We'll be celebrating National S'mores Days that also happens to coincide with the Perseids meteor shower. So we will have some more s'mores, and we'll have one of our telescopes out. We'll have binoculars. We'll have some fun family activities, and it starts at 8 p.m. We'll go probably until about 9 or 9:30. Bring out the whole family. We'd love to see ya.
And that's followed up by some sewing. So excited, just in time for back to school.
Yes, and Lori, you are supporting our programs now. I have to tell everyone, Lori donated a beautiful hand treadle sewing machine. It's a white brand sewing machine, and she just donated it a couple of weeks ago, and it's already been in use. It's already been loved. I understand its name is Paisley.
Yes.
And Paisley is already well loved in the center, well used. So shout out to Brenda, our wonderful volunteer seamstress, who gave her a little TLC, got Paisley back up and running, and she has already made a quilt.
I'm so thrilled. Our whole family is so thrilled. Thank you, Brenda. I met Brenda at Art in the Park, and she said, oh my gosh, bring Paisley out, because I said, I'm worried. What if she's can't be used, if she's too old? Oh my gosh, I guess she just leapt into action. She was just so excited. I mean, both Brenda and Paisley. So thank you for the opportunity to share the joy.
A match made in heaven.
Wow.
And Brenda is a miracle worker with all of those old machines. And that brings me to, if you've never used a hand treadle machine, come on out to the Trail Center on August 10th at 1 p.m. We'll be making back to school pencil bags with, of course, Brenda, and Clint has so generously donated some Smokey the Bear rulers, pencils, and erasers to put in those pencil bags.
Wow, that was really smart of you, Clint. Thank you. That stuff is gold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, and it's kind of an incentive to go out there and do that and get something for school.
Nice. And these are free supplies, by the way. You don't even have to bring your own stuff unless you want to.
No, we will provide all the materials. Brenda will provide all of the expertise and all of the TLC that you need to get your pencil bag made and filled with cool supplies out at the Trail Center. Again, August 10th. That's a Sunday at 1 p.m.
Thanks, Cheryl. Rolling right into the following weekend on Friday, August 15th. I know we're going to come back and talk about Pioneer Survival Day Camp because there's still some openings for that. But before it's time to head back to school, you'll have another last blast in the outdoors with Nevada Outdoor School.
That's right. Of course, one of our most important and dedicated partners, the Nevada Outdoor School. Shout out to all of you guys. They're going to be having Nature in the Park on Friday, August 15th at 2:30 p.m. And that is a fun and engaging experience, open for children 3 to 7-year-old, but anyone is welcome to come. They always have a fun activity. They always engage the kids in the wonder and the beauty of nature. So bring them on out and have some fun at the Trail Center, August 15th, 2:30 p.m.
And that's going to be followed up by some Saturday fun where we mentioned ice cream. And this one, people are encouraged to register in advance. You get to make the ice cream?
Absolutely. This is personally one of my favorite programs because I get to clean up whatever's left over. So come on out. Make sure you register. We've got our Pioneer ice cream. That's hand-cranked ice cream with a little bit of education about how the pioneers would have made ice cream. And that is going to be Saturday, August 16th at 1 p.m. And like Lori said, please don't forget to register. We don't want to turn anyone away at the door. That breaks my heart. So please register in advance so that we can make sure we can get you all in.
That sounds fantastic. And then, not to be outdone by, more hiking for the month of August.
Another one of my favorite programs. We're going to be out at Island Lake Trail on Saturday, August 23rd at 9 a.m. And I'm hoping to be one of the leaders for this hike. So I'm super excited about this one. And one of my colleagues, Paul Gregory, just went out and he said there's still tons of wildflowers out. So we'll be talking about the wildflowers. We're going to be talking about the trees. We'll be talking about, of course, the glacial activity that created the area. And we'll be talking about the fire that occurred there, the floods, all of that good stuff. So bring your backpack, bring a jacket, water, snacks. We will meet you at Road's End at the trailhead at 9 a.m. on Saturday, August 23rd.
That's great. Thank you, Cheryl. We'll keep reminding people of these amazing opportunities, rounding out the month of August with yet another popular session at the Trail Center of axe throwing.
Of course, we got to end the month on something fun. So on August 30th at 10 a.m., and that's a Sunday, we will be leading axe throwing. So if you are 8 years of age or older, come on out. We'd love to put a sharp object in your hand and let you hurl it at something safe.
Thanks, Cheryl. All this and much more. And we are going to talk about September events because, well, first of all, let's help Macy out, maybe get some more registrants for Pioneer Survival Day Camp. There's one more session left, right?
There's one more session, and it's for ages 7 to 12. And the next session is August 8th. I just spoke to her a few minutes ago. She said she's got about 9 spaces left. And it is the second time she's running it, so things are dialed in even better. And she's got a bunch of kids that are returning, so she's going to be dialing it up, making it even more fun. She's got some relay races, scavenger hunts, crafts, just tons of fun stuff that will prepare you to survive if you are a pioneer. So you're going to want to call the Nevada Outdoor School office, which is 775-778-6086, because you will need to register. It's only $25 to send your kid for the entire day to learn amazing pioneer survival skills.
Thanks, Cheryl. And that date is August 8th, so that's coming up right away. And that leads us into September, and there's this cool new event that you're doing. Tell us about this chalk art festival.
Yeah, so this is the first time we've ever tried something like this. It's a Wild West chalk Chalk Art Festival. And what it is we're inviting folks out to come and make their own chalk art creation on our sidewalks. We will have areas set aside for individual artists, and we have a featured artist. I don't know if you guys know Alyssa Compton, but she is an incredible artist, and she is going to start in on her piece super early in the morning so that she can finish it. Children are welcome to come out, families, people of all ages. We're going to have a community mural where anyone can just drop in and draw a little thing or color things in. We will have children's spaces, adult spaces. So parents out there, you don't have to share your art space with your kids. You can all have your own space. And there's going to be some fun competition where you'll get to vote for your favorites and prizes at the end. So this is all Saturday, September 6th. It's going to start right away at 8:30 a.m. as soon as we open, because of course it's going to be warm, and it's going to go until noon. You don't need to register, but you should bring some sunscreen, a water bottle, and chalk if you have it. If you don't have chalk, we've got some cool crafts that you can do to make your own sidewalk chalk before you start. And of course, we're going to provide shade, but if you've got any shade that you can bring with you to shade you during your creation. Also, if you have like a kneeling pad or a gardening pad or a camping pad, you might want to bring something like that too, because you're going to get really into your art and you don't want to have to be disturbed if, you know, you're uncomfortable. So bring whatever you need to be comfortable. We'll supply the creativity, the guidance, the sidewalk, and the prizes.
Nice. That's the Wild West Chalk Art Festival, first ever for the California Trail Interpretive Center. Again, the date is Saturday, September 6th, starting at 8:30 a.m. and a chance to meet Alyssa and say, Alyssa, you're such a fantastic artist, and we love the new mural that she's doing. I'm sure it'll be done by that time or around that time in time for the fair over at the fairgrounds.
Neat. Yeah, she's like a local celebrity. We feel so grateful that she's agreed to come out and help us with our event, and hopefully people will have lots of wonderful things to say to her.
Well, and speaking of wonderful, we'll close out with a reminder that California Trail Interpretive Center is going to be hosting this amazing opportunity. It doesn't happen all the time, and it's coming here to Elko. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Pony Express Conference is going to be coming to Elko on September 5th. And they have 2 hours of that's open to the public that's going to be out at the Trail Center. I believe it's from 3 to 5 p.m. And they are going to have a bunch of demonstrations. They're going to have some community tables and booths. And they're going to do a really cool Pony Express handoff. And with horses and riders and all of that good stuff, right on live action. So if you've never seen a handoff between Pony Express riders, or you're just interested in the history, come on out. There'll be 2 hours where you can learn with everyone else.
And in the meantime, you can check out the Pony Express cabin at our Northeastern Nevada Museum. That's the real thing. It's been preserved, somewhat restored, but it's just like it was. And start your adventure and learning more about the Pony Express, that short-lived mail service that some people think, well, maybe we could just go back to that, you know.
Sounds fun.
It sounds fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Cheryl, thanks as always for bringing your enthusiasm. Thanks to all the staff, everybody who works so hard at the California Trail Interpretive Center.
Such a pleasure to be here and such a pleasure to serve my community. I love seeing everyone at the center, so come on out.
Thank you, Cheryl. And Clint, thank you so much. And we look forward to our visits with you as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Lori. Well, you know, we're still in the kind of at the peak of fire season, so hopefully things start slowing down a little bit. But I just can only advise the public to be safe and think about what they're doing when they're out on our public lands, enjoying themselves.
Clint Mothershed, of course, our fire mitigation investigation specialist, and Cheryl Miller, park ranger with the California Trail Interpretive Center. Thank you both for being here today.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.